Well, let's do podcast chat number 2. AJN Steelstock FS3 Kawasaki. Christian Iddon, welcome back to Off Track. Thanks for lowering your standards.
I have to distribute the podcast fun and sometimes help those lower in the pecking order.
Did you just do that straight into the camera as well? Hey, thanks, mate. We've been trying to sort this for a couple of weeks now, and it's always a pleasure to sit down with you. We've done a bit this year with the BSB fan zone stage, and earlier in the season with the VIP chats here in AJN Steelstock Kawasaki. So we're going to go over some questions we've done a few times this year. But for our listeners and viewers, and obviously the Chasin the Racin listeners and viewers as well, for the host catch-ups that you do. Mate, it's not been a bad season, I think, in the grand scheme of things, especially over the last sort of 3 rounds. But for the listeners and viewers that maybe haven't caught up, how's the adaptation and how's the process been switching to the Kawasaki?
Yeah, I mean, the initial switch was the best winter tester that I've ever had. It was amazing, really. But it was difficult because we went and tested on our own. So we didn't have any reference other than what that bike had done there previously. Obviously we had some reference from lap times, but the trouble is in Spain is the temperatures, the lap times vary a lot more than what they do in the UK.
Okay.
So day to day, you can get crazy lap times and you can also get crazy bad, and that can happen different days. The tracks change a lot, whereas in the UK the tracks don't change that much. So yeah, we had references, but we tried from other people, but we tried not to think of them too much. But I had a good one from Kyle that he told me, and I trust Kyle to give me a real one, because I don't trust everyone to give me a real number when I ask someone, what have you done before? It's a bit like that body count type thing where on the
what's a body count?
But you know what I mean, like it's like okay. Some people I might add a couple of seconds because I know I need to, you know, like.
And some people might add a couple of numbers on the body count.
Yeah, or take them away if you're a last. But you know what I mean, that sort of thing. So I was like, right, I knew it was an okay lap time that we did. Max was peaking because he'd gone way faster than what he'd ever gone before. The bike had been given an upgrade. I think I'm right in saying we're pretty much the only manufacturer that had been given something that I'm aware of. And in my mind I was thinking, right, I know the job that Jason did last year, even the job that Max did was very good last year. So in my head I was like, right, they've got this upgrade. I never rode last year's bike apart from like day one, so I wasn't really up to speed, but I did feel the difference. So that to me was positive. And yeah, we left like so uber positive, it was crazy. But then the start of the season didn't translate exactly how it was. The reality was we weren't quite as competitive as what I thought we were. When we got in and around our peers, that became a bit obvious, and then I started chasing some things with just a bit of front feel. And yeah, the very start of the season wasn't that easy. But yeah, lately the last 4 or 5 rounds, probably I think maybe from Knockhill onwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I pretty much made 4th place mine, which is rubbish because I don't get a penny for 4th. Funny enough, I had another team manager message me after one that I'd spoken to at the end of last year, and his bonuses went much further down. And it was quite funny because he texted me saying, he said you would have been like 30 grand better off if you'd signed with me. I just sent a laughing emoji back. Yeah, but it's funny. It's good to have that sort of banter. But yeah, no, seriously, the consistency and the form we've shown has been really good. And yeah, it's just something we're trying to take forward and maintain, really.
It was so cool to see the podium at Thruxton. It was about time we saw Christian Iddon back on a BSB podium. It had been a little while, and I know we'd spoken 2 years ago at Cadwell, and you said something quite telling. I can't remember where it was. It might have been up on stage, but you said something about your state of mind, that you had a faster bike, but you weren't in the happiest place. We're here at Kawasaki. It's not the outright fastest bike, but it is plain to see how happy and how settled you are for this season.
Yeah, I mean, to go back to the first thing that you said about the adaptation, I mean, the bike itself is a lovely bike to ride. It's a very it's a very normal motorbike. Previously I was on a Ducati and I've been on some other bikes, and what I mean by normal, I kind of liken the Kawasaki to a bit of a Suzuki, but maybe a slightly better Suzuki, if that makes sense. So
100%.
the Kawasaki doesn't really have a strength, but it doesn't have a weakness. So that's a good thing. I've been on other bikes that have super strengths, and then you go other places and you're like, wow, this is horrendous. You know, other parts, so you get this fluctuation, whereas the Kawasaki is just a real good stable platform. So the adaptation itself to start with was really easy. And yeah, in terms of team situation, I'm probably in, you know, I've been with some really good teams, but I'm in an atmosphere that I'm really enjoying being in. And I'm around people that, not that I've not trusted other people before, by the way, but I trust everyone that I'm working with in the team, and we've got so far a good relationship with Max, and you know, it's all quite cohesive and good. So it's fairly obvious that the bike is not the fastest thing on the grid. That doesn't mean it's slow by any stretch of the imagination. I'm talking like 2 mile an hour, you know, it's nothing, but it's quite a lot when you're in a race. And I've had a lot of frustrations this year, and I've ridden badly in certain races because I've become frustrated at the situation, and then I've ridden worse because of it. I then get frustrated at me because I shouldn't allow that to happen. But because I've ended up sometimes in races with people I believe I should be, that weekend or in that race I have more pace than, but I end up getting stuck in a fight that I don't believe I should be in. Now, don't get me wrong, it's racing. If someone's better than me in a certain part of the track, they can pass me all they want, because that's how racing works. So I can't get mad at it, but it doesn't stop me from getting frustrated, because of course this is a natural thing. We have a bike that's really good kind of when you're on your own. I think myself and Max have a similar thought process on that.
Max said exactly the same. When he can run his own lines, and the same, very much the same with Jason last year. Yeah. Switching from the Yamaha, if he could run his own lines, he won here at Donington. The proof's in the pudding.
Yeah. And I think we even closer to in time wise. If you myself and Max at Cadwell were super close on times. We have been everywhere, but like the final race, for example, I got away and he got mired in a battle that, again, I think he was probably quicker than. And I end up with, you know, up the road, or with a much easier race than what he had. Yes. Even though we had the same pace, shall we say. So, yeah, it's one of them. If you get out the front or near the front, then it's great.
But if you're stuck behind BMW and it's got the power on the straights and you want to rail the corners.
Yes.
Different strengths in different places.
It's funny, because the places that I expected the Kawasaki to be good and bad, the preconceptions I had are quite different to the reality. The bike was absolutely fantastic at Brands. It was incredible at Thruxton. It likes long corners, and I never thought that would be a Kawasaki trait, but it is very good. You know, the back section at Brands, that is the best bike I've ever ridden in my career, around the back section of Brands. And even funny little bits, like they resurfaced Dingle for this year, and there must have been a little bit of an issue with exactly Dingle itself, and it was ripply. And I could see other bikes reacting poorly to it, and my bike was just so good over it. And I was like, I wish they'd done a bad job of the rest of it, because it was really good.
Yeah, help me out.
But yeah, so it's one of them. I think there's not really any new bikes in 1000cc. You know, there's very few brand new bikes. You know, that's the nature of what it is. There's a lot of now there's evolutions of bikes more than brand new bikes, but the Kawasaki is still one of the oldest of the ones that are still being. So there's nothing more to come from the engine. I know that the engine is the engine. I think now it's down to like those that make the rules to peg in the top, and they have a really difficult job to do, because it's production based racing, but they have to allow bikes that are from very different market, you know, strategic market points, and you know they're aimed at different groups of people. No question. So they have to have a Ducati race against potentially now even a Suzuki, you know, like a Kawasaki or a Honda. They're marketed very differently. The how they come as a standard bike is very different. So the rule makers have it really difficult, and I think they do a fantastic job.
Proof of the pudding's there, isn't it? We've got pretty much all four out of five manufacturers in the top six, so they're doing something right in that sense. It was a great thing at Thruxton because you put the effort in so much through the two races. You'd had Danny Kent swatting around like a fly, but as you've explained previously, just was it race 2? When you're going through the back end of the circuit and he came underneath, was that race 1 or race 2?
Race 1.
It was race 1.
Yeah, race 1 at Thruxton was...
It's just wrong time.
I actually got emotional about it afterwards. It really upset me. I don't know why it's daft. There's far worse problems in the world. But it made me upset to the point I went to, because Max got on the podium that race, which I was very happy with him very happy for him for that. And I went to make sure I applauded him on the podium. And then I went back to the garage, and then obviously the team was so supportive and stuff, and they were just like, oh, and I had to leave. I couldn't bear being in the situation. I was about to turn into a blubbering mess, but it just upset me because it was an opportunity missed, and I felt like I'd done literally everything right. Absolutely played my cards, what felt was perfect. And Danny made a move on me, which, don't get me wrong, I would have made the same move. I'm not like...
There's never a question about that.
I'm not saying he did a bad move.
Exactly.
It just was a real bad time for me, and it knocked me back in the pack at like the worst time. So it was one of them. So to get a podium then in the final race on the Sunday was it was really nice. And actually the second race is probably one of the most enjoyable race I've ever had, because Thruxton, it's such a weird circuit. You race without racing because you're always thinking about the tyres. And the sprint race became like a super sprint race. I can't remember what happened, but
it got red flagged, didn't it?
Got
for
red
Blake
flagged.
Baker and
Danny Webb.
That's it. Hopefully Danny's on the mend as well.
Yeah. And every other track you have to run the same tyres, but Thruxton has its own rule where you can have a tyre change. So we had a sprint race that was then reduced again to 8 laps or something, and then new tyres. And it was like everyone was just letting her eat. It was amazing, because it is the one track you don't get to let the bikes eat properly. You're all just playing this waiting game.
It is that. Thruxton, from my understanding, is one of the only race circuit in the UK where you have to win at the slowest possible speed.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, yeah. If you I finished 3rd in the last race, and I think my best lap would have put me 18th or 19th. So that shows
patience,
and it's just patience, just sitting there waiting, and always. And that's why I was upset in the first race, because I'd done exactly what I thought. I was never lower than 3rd until I got punted. I was like, yeah, perfect. And it was exactly the same strategy that I did in the last race as well. And again, I feel like I should have won that, but it's tactical. And genuinely, I was thinking to myself, it's mad how much tactics there is at Thruxton compared to other races. But I was sat behind Brad for almost the whole race. Down the back, our bike was absolutely incredible on the run down to Church. I don't know what the corner it is before Village or something like that.
Yeah.
So between Village and Church, it is the most incredible bike I've ever ridden. It literally just picked up grip for fun. And that's where you hurt a tyre a lot, on that part of the track. And I knew I could pass anyone at will down there. Brad led for the majority. And every time I would try and pull out the slipstream down the back straight. Didn't necessarily want to lead, but I did want to do a few laps to see if I had pace to kind of hurt the rest of the boys a little bit. But I couldn't pass him. I had the pace just to sit in the slipstream, to pull to one side, but not to do anything with it. And then and once I did it, got through, and literally the very next lap, he just passed me back. So I understood that this is going to be a difficult last lap scenario no matter what for me. And then it became like this repeat scenario of I would come out of Church, get as far into Brad's slipstream as I could, because that dragged me along, obviously. I would pull to the right, because that would stop someone coming the long way round on the right. And then I knew Brad took a sweeping line, and so I was taking a tight one, because that basically, if I felt someone on my shoulder, I could release the brakes and they had nowhere to go because Brad was there. So it was like this double blocking manoeuvre that we were doing. The only thing I got wrong, really, Danny came through again with like 2 to go, I think, at the chicane. And to me, yeah. And to me, actually, the situation was still good because I was like, right, I'll need to pass Brad on the run down to church, and then I'll use Danny to do exactly the same, and then we're just gonna have to go all guns blazing. But the mistake I made was I made a mistake in the left and then didn't get Brad on the run down. But still, the whole race, I'm thinking, I don't know how I know I've got pace to win it, but my bike's strong in the wrong place.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't know how I can win this race, because the worst thing I could have done there was lead. So where my bike was good, if I'd got to the front, because that's where I would have got to the front, I might have ended up 5th or 6th. Because once you're the first bike in the train, you're just putting a big hole of air, you know, for everyone else to sit in, and then you just go woof like that.
You're just a marker, aren't you? As soon as you brake, they'll brake a 1/10 of a second later, and that's it. They're underneath you.
Yeah, Thruxton was tactically one of them. It was, but to box off a podium, especially, like I said, it really upset me on the first race. I don't really know why it upset me as much as it did. I don't know what I was necessarily upset about, because those opportunities don't come that often or what, but something really got me. So yeah, so to get a podium the following day was nice, because at least it's a very long drive from Andover to Newcastle, so at least it was quite a happy one.
It's a long way uphill, that.
Yeah, it is. Use a lot of fuel going uphill for all that time.
No, I get it. Like I say, I get it. I've never been in that position, but I understand it, because knowing that you've got all your ducks in a row, it's been a while since you've been on a BSB podium. This is why we go racing, to win races, to stand on the podium, to be the best that you can be. You haven't quite been in that position more recently. So now you've got a strategy that you know will work, a strategy that for 2/3 of a race you've proved will work. So no, I get it. There's every reason to be upset, because if you'd had a podium at the start of the season, or you'd had a couple already, you'd be like, that's racing.
Yeah.
But it's a bigger picture. So then you do it on the Sunday.
It was just one of them, and I was just happy for the team. It was one of them sort of, not perfect weekend because we didn't win anything, but, you know, like perfect weekend scenarios. We both got on the podium. You know, everyone was in really good spirits. So it was a nice weekend. It really was. And like I said, from Knockhill, I don't really know. It probably stems from, we did a test up at Knockhill about just over a week before Knockhill.
Yeah.
And it is the strangest test I've ever done.
Why?
Because bear in mind, we've got a race at Knockhill the following week. So normally what you do is you go there and you go, right, how good can we make our bike for Knockhill? And we didn't do that. Okay. But it's really bizarre. And we went there. I'd been struggling with front feel. I'd been struggling with understanding a few things with the bike. So we went there with a plan to get through as many combinations as we could on the front, and regardless of whether they were good or bad, we would then do a 10-lap run and then take it out and then put in the next thing without fail. And it's very hard to do that, because normally what happens is you put something in and you go, let's say for example, that's better, right? You then try and improve that and improve that and improve that, but you might have missed a trick, but you don't know that. And then you also don't know exactly what it was that was better, or if it was better on a different combination. What we really wanted to understand was, between certain things, which is offset, the rake, the head angle, and basically the height of the front end, which of those three is the most important to the bike? And then when you've got the bigger the picture is, then how do they work together with each other? So we left there with a much better understanding. And the reason that was so important is because you then you're then able to go to a track, and if you're struggling with something in a particular way, we've got the information in the back pocket to say, yeah, okay, we know that doing this will change this.
That's fully Japanese thinking.
It was the most bizarre test I've ever done.
I can't remember, when we used to do it in manufacturing, it would it's like a Kaizen thing. If you change 3 things and the bike feels better, what made the difference?
Exactly.
So to actually go there and not take any notice of the lap times, to forget the fact it's Knockhill in a week's time. Let's use this test to go through methodically and structurally, or with a structure, should I say, look at the benefits that's reaped.
I mean,
doing that,
like as a
and having
rider,
the time and the headspace to do it, because normally it's like, I want to go fast, I want to be top of the times, I want this, we've got a race here in a week's time, I want to be fast.
Exactly.
But we've got 21 races left. Big picture time.
Yeah, I mean, like, just as an example, we ran through the testing program, and we go, right, just as an example, let's say we lifted the front and I went, I hate it. The next test is to lift the front even more, and you go, but I know I hate it, but you might not hate if you go
that extra step
further, maybe you won't hate it, you know, like.
So
it's really bizarre. Even though that wasn't the direction, maybe that direction is better if you go more. Or what's then hard is, obviously we only did it the front end. When you then start adding in, okay, then you need to go rear end of the bike, and you need to go how it works with the electronics and the chassis. So, but it was for me, that was a big turning point in the season, because we turned up at Knockhill then, and I felt like I had even probably a better understanding of the bike. I mean, we did so many laps. I don't know if you've seen on the screen, but we laughed because Max had cleared up by like middle of the day. So he's got Pecco on his screen, and I've got Pirro because I'm the test rider. So that's where that's come from. So that's why on the screens you've got Pecco and Pirro. I was like, don't you worry, Max, I'll do all the testing for you, lad. You just relax. Don't stress yourself. But yeah, that to me was a turning point, or not that we were super struggling, but there was just a lack of understanding from my side. And I think as well, even though the team have had this bike for a while, I think even there was things they hadn't visited before, because it's so hard on a race weekend.
Yeah.
And you do go around that on a race weekend, it's nearly impossible. I'll put that out there. It's nearly impossible to change the bike, or to get, because we get 2 tyres for free practice, which is 2 free practices. Now they only just last really for those sessions anyway. But add into the mix the fact we have to qualify for qualifying. So FP1, you have to have new tyres, but you'd have to if you went on scrubs, because you've got to put the stickers on.
Yeah.
So you get 1 set of stickers. That's your first set of tyres used up. And usually the rider needs a few laps to get into it anyway.
Yeah. So
you're getting into it. Then you go, okay, bike feels this, that, and the other. You maybe get 1 more run on those tyres before they're not scrap, but before certainly they
drop off the edge, yeah.
And then you'll start the second session on those tyres. By that point, the information you're getting back is not really that relevant, because the tyre drop's been so much, or they've gone way over race distance, or whatever it is. Then you put in new tyres, and you go, now I'm going to have to pull myself apart just to get in the top 12. For qualifying, you have to qualify for qualifying, and when a rider's pulling themselves apart, it's hard to have the headspace to think about.
You're not at that point. You're not thinking about how the bike feels. You are literally overcoming any issues that you have. It's like, I'm going to have to ride through this.
Just ride through it. And that's, to be fair, and actually as well, what's also difficult about that is the time that you'll do in FP2 to get into qualifying. Normally by the end of the weekend, you're doing them at will quite easy.
Yeah.
But at that point of the weekend, you're generally not ready to go that pace. So you throw the thing in there, like, not even sure if it's going to stick, just like hoping. And of course, you're probably going within reasonable, it's okay, but
even so,
it's one of them. I don't really like that session, so I'm like, oh no, like, and then suddenly someone who's been nowhere will just like put a heater in, and you're like,
straight in.
Where did they come from? Like, I don't need this.
And now all of a sudden you're in Q1.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, thanks. You're not going to be anywhere in the race, but you put a great lap in. Cheers for that.
I know. So
it cost me another set of tyres.
Well, no, so you don't get them. That's the problem.
So you can only use one set for Q1
so that's
Q2.
That's the problem with doing Q1, because then you don't get another set.
So you are literally going to be 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th in Q1.
That's
it's
why
almost guaranteed.
Friday's so important for those. And actually, we're doing this here at Donington. Today's been different because there isn't a Q1 and a Q2. I
was going to ask you about that. It's a completely different mindset today, isn't it?
Yeah, loads better.
Because you have 2 proper free practices. Mm-hmm. So while we're recording this now, it's free practice 1 and free practice 2 are pure free practice sessions. Yeah. Exactly what it says on the tin. Mm-hmm. There's no sub-level qualifying session like there normally is on a Friday. It's just a standard qualifying session tomorrow. No Q1, no Q2, 15-minute, 20-minute session, whatever it's something like that. Because we've got World Superbike and MotoGP on this weekend, so they've had to alter the schedule slightly. But I was watching the times earlier on. And again, it feels like you've had a methodical day today, because You said this morning you weren't too happy with the bike setup, but this afternoon you're in a much better place by the looks of it.
Much better.
According to the timesheet.
According to the timesheet isn't the full truth today for me. Yeah,
that's why I say according to this, because there's so many things go on.
Today's been a really funny one. I was really excited for going out in FP1 because the Donington at the start of the year was the results weren't terrible. Can't even really remember where I finished, but it was like 7th or something like that. You know, like they were in or around that area. But the feeling was really bad. It was a really difficult weekend. I kind of got lucky with where I finished, I think. Not lucky, but, you know, like, it was difficult. So I was super excited because the bike's very different to how it was at the start of the year here. So, literally, I rolled out. I wanted to do a full race run, which here isn't very long because we've got no long races.
4 sprint races.
4 sprints. So 12 laps, to be fair. I was like, right, I'll just go straight out and do a 12-lap run.
Yeah.
And after 3 laps, I'm like, this is awful. I'm pulling in. So straight away, I had a bad feeling. And it kind of set the tone for FP1. We never got our heads around it. I didn't, once I got that bad feeling, it was hard to pick back up and not have that bad feeling. FP2, the bike felt a lot better, but still, there's something missing this weekend at the minute. I did 1 lap that was half decent. I think I finished 5th or something this afternoon. But yeah, it's not awesome yet. But I do always feel like I'm more of a racer. So I'm not that worried. Generally, I just want to get racing. You know, I don't really like all the rest of it. I just want to go and sat on the start line. I'm happy. Everything else is like a little bit, not tedious. That's not the right word, but you know, it's just like, okay, now I've got to do this free practice. It's
a process to go through, isn't it?
Got to do this process before I get to do the fun stuff. And weirdly, I'm far more relaxed when I'm racing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I feel much happier. I feel more, I ride differently, and I don't mean to. I try. The time never comes easy for me in practice or qualifying. Not that the time comes easy in a race, but the time comes easier in a race. And I ride, I think, more controlled way. I think everything going around me, I find like a calmness in that for some reason. And then I'm much more flowing and fluid. So
interesting.
Yeah. It's like everything going crazy around me makes me relaxed, and I don't know why. Whereas on my own in a practice or something, I feel like I'm grabbing at stuff and I'm trying to pinch an inch. And
can you overthink things when you're out?
Yeah, 100%. Because, like we said before, when you come back in the box, your job is to critique the bike.
Yeah.
In order to try and make it better. So as much as you're riding around going, like, struggling to do this, that, or the other, you then have to go, right, okay, why is it? And I need to feed that back. And then when you come in, but then I think you can overthink it. I think sometimes you could have made it stick to that corner, or you could have done something else. And I think once you get to the race point, I'm quite happy and good to go, right, this is the bike I'm on.
Yeah.
Let's make it work to the best of its abilities. Whereas in the practice and qualifying, it's kind of a different thing. You go, how good can I get my guys to make this bike?
For 1 lap,
yes.
But also for 20 laps and 12 laps.
Whereas I think mentality, even for me, just maybe I'd need to think, right, how can I make this work better? Can I make it work better? So yeah, something to work on. You know, I'm one of the older ones in the championship now, but there's always something you can work on as a rider, isn't there? You can always learn.
It's the same in every day that we do anything. Every day's a school day, isn't it? And if you think you know everything, that's the day to pack up and go and muck out the horses and drive Nick to work and look after Toby on a full-time basis. Oh, and decorate the house and everything. Congratulations on the new place, by the way.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a stressful time lately because we've been trying to move house and went a bit crazy because the person buying our house pulled out like just before we went. So anyway, it's done now. So I'm now like basically a full-time painter and decorator because I've been doing every job going, but no, we've got a nice place in the northeast. I've been up there for like 6-ish years now. And yeah, just managed to move house. So like family life and stuff, it's really good. You know, I've got my little 3-year-old boy Toby and stuff, and he's cool. He's a pain, but he's also cool. But yeah, things on that side are good, you know, like, and again, with the atmosphere in the team, it's nice because the families comes with me as much as they can. It's not always that easy, you know, from Newcastle. I know it's not like another country, but it feels like it sometimes. It's a long way up there.
You've got a 3-year-old and you've got to stop 5 times on the way.
Yeah, it gets a
easy.
bit difficult.
And
so
leaving here at 7 o'clock on a Sunday night.
Yeah, sometimes we don't get home till 1, 2 in the morning. Like, obviously that's a bit unfair for a little boy. So, but yeah, once the rounds that they do come to, again, the atmosphere is really good, and he comes in the garage and he's got his little toy box in hospitality and stuff. So yeah, it's a good atmosphere at the minute. We've got a good thing going on, I think, at the moment.
It's good balance, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like your work-life balance, to me, feels probably it hasn't been much better.
Yeah, I mean, I think.
Not saying it was bad anywhere else.
No, no.
I think it's on a level of any other time. It's never been better than it is now.
I think I'm more relaxed in a way about my riding. I always used to want to be the best regardless.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a good thing to learn or a bad thing to learn. And I think I first picked up on it when I was teammates with Michael Laverty, who I remember him sort of like, not saying to me, but it was like, you know, it matters what you're on, and it matters the situation that you're in, and this, that, and the other. And I was always wanting to be on track and always wanting to do, and he was a bit more relaxed and calm about it. And I think I'm morphing into him a little bit in the sensation, and I'm more understanding of the knowledge that you have to make the most of what you're on at the time and stuff. And I think myself and Max are doing that at the minute.
No question.
So yeah, the fact that we're not winning and stuff, I'm not as stressed about it as I would be in previous years.
If you were on, for argument's sake, a Yamaha that is expected to be on the podium week in, week out, and you were finishing 4th, 5th, 6th on a regular basis, then yes. But on a Kawasaki, you're not, or a BMW, you're not expected to be in the top 3 on a regular basis because of the nature of the other bikes and how they work around the British track.
It's an interesting one, because obviously as a rider you want to be on what is, because don't get me wrong, the best bike is not necessarily always the best bike how it looks. So you've got to factor in the riders and the teams and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, so sometimes getting on the bike that is perceived to be the best bike is a bit of a double-edged sword, because then all of a sudden, if you don't perform, then there's nowhere to hide.
Exactly it. Well, they're doing it. Why aren't you?
Exactly.
And then you start questioning yourself.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, it opens up a whole world of hurt that you don't need.
The thing that's probably difficult for us is we are the only 2 Kawasaki's now. You know, the Kawasaki used to be probably the go-to bike for all the customer teams. It was probably the bike with the most bikes on the grid. Now that's changed. I'd say Honda's probably the one now.
No question.
To replace that. So yeah, the only reference we've got is Max, really. So. And he's a good reference to have, but sometimes you kind of want 1 or 2 others just to say, right, what's occurring, what's going on. But I think the job we're doing at the moment is strong. I'm content at the minute with what we're doing. Like at the moment, the championship situation's, I think I'm 6th or something, but I'm only like 15 or 20 points off 3rd, so it's quite 20 points. So good research. We should do podcasts.
You should borrow my notes.
I usually look at the other person's when I do it. Yeah, so actually we're quite close. You know, Brad and Kyle are way off in the distance, and
I said to Max earlier on, and I'll change it round from how I said it to Max because it's only polite because you're sat here now. There is a distinct possibility for the run into the end of the season that you and Max could finish 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, there is, which would be a positive
thing. That would be an incredible achievement.
It would be a positive thing, but then on the flip side, I don't know what I'd prefer. I don't know if I'd prefer to win, like do some winning, and then have up and down results, but do some winning in there, or finish 3rd. I'm not sure which of those.
Saying you can't do any winning before the end of this season, though.
No, I agree, but I'm like there's different ways.
There's
different ways to approach a championship, is what I mean. So
yes, fair enough.
So do you go ball to the wall because you can go? No one ever's going to remember if I finish 3rd or 2nd or whatever. You only ever remember the champions.
See, I remember you. It's definitely once. Is it possibly twice? You finished just outside when it was the old showdown, and you got the riders' trophy finishing the
wooden spoon,
like the wooden spoon. And then I remember you. Then and I get it completely, because it's like, well, nobody's going to remember me. Barely anybody remembers
me for being bang average. That's what I got.
and not being in the top 6.
Yeah, I was like, I felt a bit sorry for 6th. The 6th didn't get a trophy, and
Get anything.
7th gets a trophy.
And go up on the podium at Brands at the end of the season and get a big round of applause.
It was a bit of a weird one. That when you feel like a complete imposter, and you're like, literally 4th, 5th, and 6th are looking at me going, "Why has he got a trophy?" That's ridiculous.
I wonder if they've got bonuses though.
Probably. And funny enough, you never factor in the blinking Riders' Cup or whatever it used to be into your bonus structure. But
it's not on the CV, that one is.
No, it's definitely not. Definitely not. You got the wooden spoon.
I mean, from the last round we had was Cadwell Park, and you got 4th, 7th, and 4th, and I think the 7th felt like a frustrating ride.
Yeah, massively.
Compared to not being able to back up the other two and getting mired in a certain point, exactly what you explained earlier on, and just not being particularly able to do a great deal about it as much as you tried.
Yeah, but you know what? So I came in absolutely seething in that after that race. So race 2, yeah, there'd been a safety car actually, and I'd got away at the beginning, and I'd probably pulled a 2 or 3 tenth gap that I needed on the rider behind, and then the safety car came out, and then I got done straight away. And then I was riding then at a pace that was a little bit less than what I wanted to go at or what I could have gone at.
Yeah.
And then ended up in a battle with someone else that got me. And then I was so conscious of being vulnerable down the back straight and into Park Corner that I then completely balled Park Corner up, which is on me, but I made the mistake and 2 more came through. And then I was seething after the race. But the truth is, I was angry at myself because I caused most of the loss of positions.
Because it was out on circuit.
It was
chief.
Yeah, I came in mad, but the truth is I was mad at myself more than anything. And it wasn't until I sort of went and sat in the caravan that I was like, yeah, I'm actually just mad at me because I didn't ride as good as I could. Yes.
Stern word with yourself.
Yeah, but yes, the situation wasn't the easiest race to be in, but I could have managed that better. And I was angry at me for allowing that to creep in, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's been a few, that was probably the worst one this year. There's been a few where I've got frustrated. I remember Donington here at the start of the year, I did a similar thing and I was just like, oh. And the minute you start riding bad, you know, like it just creeps in and then you start grabbing at things and it never works out well. But yeah, then to be fair, then in the last race to have a good race, to back it up with a good one, that was probably one of my best performances ever, which is weird to say. Like a 4th at Cadwell is like one of my best performances, but we never really hit the nail on the head with the setup at Cadwell. I never felt 100% comfortable, but in the last race, I'd made my way back past into 4th because I was a bit further back, made my way into 4th. The front group had kind of gone anyway. And then I had some big moments, big front slides, which is not normal for me. And then I was happy to then be able to put that out of my mind and then regain the flow and keep the form and keep the momentum. Because sometimes when you have some big moments and you don't feel good, it's just a negative like cycle of then you ride more tentative, more tense, you have more moments, so it just ends up in this like. And actually the opposite happened. I was able to sort of like, right, breathe, calm, reset, which is the opposite of what I'd done 3 hours before.
Yeah.
So I was really, 4th place, but it was one of my best races ever because I was like, right, I mean, the only thing I did fluff big time is I'm miscounting. I didn't look at my board with 2 to go and I thought it was the last lap. And I proper rolled through the last sort of whole bends, just like, and I came down, I'm like, where's the finish flag? So, and I knew the lap before I had 1.5 seconds or something. So, and I'd done a really slow lap. I knew I'd done a really slow lap. And then I knew that my pit board would also be wrong. So I looked at it, but I knew that was wrong because they can't guess how slow I've gone through
in that final sector. No, they haven't got time to put it on.
So then I didn't know who was behind me or how close. I mean, it was Max, but I was like, oh no, you know, like, and I'd kind of already done that, like, oh, I'm in, finish the weekend. And I was like, oh no, like back on the throttle. And yeah, that's only the second time I've ever done that. And luckily neither times did it turn out badly, but
it's not full Alicia Spargaro, but it's
full Alicia Spargaro at Barcelona. But,
God bless.
But it nearly was.
It's not far, and especially if it's Max as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Like anybody but Max.
Exactly.
How much did the safe in race 2? I forgot to ask Max about this. because you were up the order for that, when the safety car came out, Tommy's backed everybody up through the hairpin. On a situation like that, and this is not because it's not my point to say Tommy was right, wrong, or indifferent, just a situation of finding yourself backed up that far on a narrow track, and you could see everybody's having to fan out, and then you've got to try and find your place in the line again. And there was a few arms waving and people gesticulating, then all of a sudden he nails it through barn and you roll away, and it's like, Jesus Christ, we're going again. What was that like from your point of view?
I mean, it was a bit easier for me because I was fourth, I think, at the time. The further up the field, obviously, the easier, because you don't get the same accordion motorway traffic effect that you do.
Yeah.
But the way that he conducted the last 4 corners under the safety car, to me, was, well, completely contrary to the rules, but he didn't get anything for it, so they obviously found it was okay. But after, I think it was Tommy that they brought the rule in for at Knockhill, or it was someone at Knockhill. Someone did a really bad safety car restart. Not sure it was a Knockhill one.
Not Tommy at Alton Park.
And Tommy at Alton Park, there was that as well.
2023.
That was horrendous. That was really bad. But anyway, and then they brought the rule in, basically you had to stay like within, I don't know, let's say 5 bike lengths of the car in front, and maintain a...
Because the safety car is maintaining a reasonable pace,
the
isn't
safety car, it's going slow, but it's maintaining like it's going fast for a car.
Yes.
So it's quite slow for us, but it's maintaining a pretty constant pace. You know, they make sure they go at a good, strong pace for the thing. So it's a good rule in terms of, yes, I think that should be right. But yeah, we definitely weren't doing that. We were nearly stopped on that. So I don't know if you got a talking to or what. It was dangerous, I think. It was dangerous in the slow sense. What happened at Alton was different because it was a much higher speed scenario. He didn't do anything like what he did at Alton. What happened at Alton was there was a full acceleration, to which everyone thought, okay, this is the go time, and then an absolute full stop
into lodge.
And the thing is it sounds daft, but you're not always looking where you're going. As in, you just, once you get going, that's it, and you don't see 4 or 5 bikes that has just suddenly parked it in a place that you would not normally park it. So yeah, that was abnormal. How slow we were going at Cadwell was abnormal. I get why he did it, because it's part of the game. You know, it's like taking a dive in football or whatever. So I get it, and if you get away with it, then he got away with it. So it's, you know, I wasn't that bothered about it, but I did think it was a little bit rum.
I say, I'm not pointing a finger. It just from your point of view, and how it then kind of unsettled the race for a lot of people, because we don't have safety cars, thankfully, too often in BSB, and it just, of all places, Cadwell. We did Jen and I did a podcast last week, and I titled it "Those Extra 4 inches Make All the Difference." And Cadwell Park, and it's maybe not even 4 inches. I think it's maybe 2 or 3, the other side of the white line.
Yeah.
It fascinates me, scares me, and bewilders me all at the same time. Because I experienced it for the first time in 2014, watching it with Jordan Weaving on the entrance to Hall Bends. I was watching from the cafe, and there's a little bit of on the other side of the white line. Same into barn, same on the exit of Park, same on the exit of the gooseneck.
A little bit down there.
It is only a little bit, but the fine margins now that you have to find on a superbike to just open up the corners a little bit more. It's such a fine line. Do you enjoy Cadwell?
No, not really.
It's I don't find many that do.
Cadwell's a funny one, because I think you know within the first 5 laps if you're going to have a good weekend or not.
Okay.
If you get your flow around there and if you feel quite good, then that tends to continue. The minute you start fighting the track, it's difficult, and then it's hard to get yourself out of that. And then it comes from that, like I said, the very first 5 laps, whereas other tracks, you might have a really difficult start to the weekend, but actually you can work your way through it. Cadwell's not quite as easy. And I also find Cadwell, you can love it and hate it one year after the other. Most other tracks, someone will go, yeah, I love Donington, and they'll love Donington for all their career.
Yeah.
Whereas I think sometimes you go Cadwell, one year you love it and everything works, and the next year you go, I hate this place because it doesn't work. So it's a little bit odd in terms of its own thing. And it's always been a strange one, Cadwell, because the times have always been really close,
Yeah.
which I find super interesting because it's definitely the most technically demanding. It's the most technical track. It's by far and away the most physical. I mean, I could actually hear myself blowing in the race, and I was like, I need to stop doing that because it was putting me off. I was going. Yeah. So it's hard work, you know. It's hard
that's
work
going on a reel.
That's fine. Yeah, clip that right up. And it's hard, but then for some reason it's super close.
Yeah.
And I always find it fascinating. The only thing we've got the same is the electronics and the tires.
Yeah.
You've got all these different riding styles and different motorbikes and different technicians working on all these different motorbikes, and you've got flipping 20 odd corners or whatever it is around Cadwell. It's a lot, whatever it is, and it's 1 minute 26 or something, and you're within like 0.2 of each other, and it's just like, how is that even possible? It's
kind of cool in its own way, isn't it?
It is cool. It's
because that's a lot of circuits that we go to now. The top 10 are usually within a second.
Mm-hmm.
I know Scott put in a fairly spectacular lap this afternoon in FP2, but generally speaking, the top 10 are usually within a second, sometimes the top 12, and then you go to Thruxton, the fastest, wildest ride of the season, and the top 15 are within a second. And they're all different manufacturers with all their different strengths and weaknesses. So a tip of the hat to Scott Smart and Stuart and the rule makers, because it's making the show exactly what it is.
It is, but like you say, like now it is those marginal gains, it is those using the other side of the white line, you know, like you have to do it. You absolutely have to do it because, you know, if you don't pass, you're being passed. You know, it's just, that is the nature of this championship. I think we've seen a lot of riders come into it that haven't been able to adapt, not just because of the tracks, but also because of the style of racing.
Yeah.
It's its own entity, BSB. You know, and it's pretty cool. You know, well, it's very cool. You know, but yeah, you have to be 10/10. You can't. And the thing is, the thing I think that sets aside at the moment is there's a lot of riders that can do the lap time, should we say?
Yeah.
Brad is probably the best. He can do a lap that's insane. Kyle's exceptional as well. But then after that, almost everyone on the grid could be third, shall we say, if they wanted to, in one lap. What's the big set aside in British Championship racing is the ability to repeat and not have the drop off. And that's where we see the pecking order happens a bit later, not necessarily later in the race, but that's where you see that's where it differentiates itself from the riders at the top. And it's, like I said, it's weird because it's not necessarily the lap time.
No.
There's a lot of riders in this championship that can do the lap time, shall we say, which is why said it before, but which is why Friday afternoon is such a difficult one, because someone can put a lap time in that, you know, not that you know won't be there, but you can be almost certain they won't be there.
You come in the knowledge that potentially by lap 10 they're not going to be ahead of you,
and then you're going, just stop.
And then they're going to be difficult to get past at the best of times. So, their bike's strong in different areas. And all of a sudden you're like, just get out the way. Yeah. So you're just being a pain in the arse now.
That is the big factor, is like nearly everyone can do the lap time, but can you keep doing it and maintain the consistency? And we've had a different tyre this year, and actually it's made it probably easier to maintain the lap time because the longevity of this tyre is higher.
Yeah.
So it has brought the field closer again in terms of end of race distance from first to last, should we say, or whatever it is. But, you know, like first to 15th, it's closer, but that's because it is actually a little bit easier to not have so much of a drop off because it is a slightly better tyre.
How are you enjoying having the younger teammate alongside you, having Max? Because you now, as I said last night, the elastic doesn't stretch very far between the pair of you, both training at Wits days, in free practice, in the races now. If one of you's fourth, the other one's fifth. You in the nicest possible way joined at the hip, but now we get into the business end of the season, and you're both going to be battling for third and fourth place in the championship, because that's the aim. That's a realistic finishing place for both of you. And now all of a sudden it's like, it just seems this weekend's pivotal for so many things in BSB. But as we're sat here with you, I didn't speak to Max about this earlier. I was just sort of thinking about it this afternoon. The relationship might change.
Yeah, I mean, to start with, I'm so old, it's hard for me to have an older teammate. So I doubt that was going to happen. Well, Max is quite a bit younger than me.
Okay, so a suitably young teammate. Yeah, unless you have Josh as a teammate or Leon.
Exactly, they're the only two. I think I'm third. I can't even win that championship.
Third in that one.
I'm third in the age category. Yeah, I mean, myself and Max have had a good, you know, we went to Spain together and we trained together, and it's like anything. We will, of course, try. I've always tried with every teammate I've had to have a good relationship, because I'm a firm believer that it's not a team sport in the sense of your teammate. They're not teammates. You don't have to like them. But I do think that it's always better if you and your teammate and the other side of the garage can work together, and it's never going to happen. But the perfect scenario would you make yourselves so good, you get together, you work so well that you get a setup that's the best thing ever, and you've got the best bike, that it's just you two racing against each other, and then you go, okay, let's put a wall up. So I've always been a firm believer to try and do as much as you can. Some teammates, it's been possible, and other teammates didn't really want to know, or different, or we clashed, and I don't mean that from their side, also maybe me, you know, like I'm not putting that on them. But yeah, with Max it seems we can do that, but also the team is very open to that. Presty, my crew chief, and Jason who's Max's crew chief, work very well together, you know, like they're very open with, like, they're often looking at each other's homework and seeing what's got what and how it works, but that's a good thing, you know, like
absolutely, it
accelerates that rise up. The relationship between myself and Max, 100% it could change in one bad move, or like, I don't think I would certainly never try and wipe him out, and he would never try to wipe me out. I'm fairly certain that a bad move would be a mistake. But yeah, I like Max I think he has good morals. I think he's a good lad. He comes from a good family, you know, like he's not an idiot, you know, like, as in some people in the paddock get a little bit above themselves quite early and quite soon.
Grounded, isn't he?
He's grounded, and I don't mean that. What I mean is, it's very easy to become not grounded, because you get, in our own little world, you get put on a pedestal. So it's very hard not to suddenly get ahead of yourselves.
To think you're a big fish in a little pond all of a sudden.
So fair play to him. He's not like that at all. So that's really good, and I appreciate that, because I'm the sort of person that likes good values in a person, and I do think he's got good values. He's a little bit of a smiling assassin, because he looks like, it gives it this whole dense thing, and he's not as dense as he sounds or looks. But also, he's a bit more switched on. There's a few things that we've done on track, and I know he's not given me the help in certain things. And I don't know if he thinks I was born yesterday, but I know all about it, and it's fine. And it's fine, because I know that that's okay. It's all part of the game.
He's been racing since he's 6 years old. It's not that he hasn't got racecraft, and he knows what's going on.
Yeah, but it's just funny, because he's got this whole, like, thing going on, but he knows exactly what he's doing. So yeah, I'm fully onto him with all that. So
he don't fool you, does he?
No, he doesn't fool me. But like I said, that's fine, because he doesn't have to help me.
No.
And I don't have to help him. So that's, you know, I'm totally cool with it. It's not a bother. If we're on a hot lap and I want a bit of a tow and he pulls over, that's fine. That's him. You know, like,
that's racing.
It's racing. So yeah, we have a good relationship, and like I said, and I genuinely believe, right, I've joked with him before, but I do think that he is a very strong potential British Superbike champion in the not too distant future, if I'm honest with you.
I'm so glad you backed me up on that, because I was alluding to the similar thing earlier.
Yeah, and that's a good thing, because we've probably had a little bit of a drought of people coming through. You know, we joked about me being one of the elder ones and stuff like that, and I still feel like I've got a job. I wouldn't be here if I didn't think I could win the championship.
100%.
So until I get beaten week in, week out by a younger, faster teammate, then I'll be here, because until that point, that means that I am good enough in the right scenario, in the right situation to be in that point. But I do believe that Max, if he continues on his current rate of progression, there's certainly no reason why he can't be, is the way I'd probably put it.
It's the perfect way to put it. It's the John McGuinness scenario, isn't it? When people say, well, John, why do you keep getting the Honda ride? well, if somebody younger comes along and beats me, they can have my bike.
Yeah.
No problem.
Uh-huh.
But until then, I'm happy doing what I'm doing, thanks. And same principle for you.
Yeah.
Keep going, keep going. I don't think we're in a time of our lives now where age has been less relevant.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate it from a physical point of view. Riding a superbike is physical, but you've always been in great shape. You've always trained hard. You're always ready for the season. So from that side of things, I don't think that's really ever going to be an issue. Mentally, when you've decided that you're like, do you know what? I'm done.
Yeah.
You will know.
Yeah, 100%. And some days you have days where you go, I don't know why I still do this. But then you might have one good session and you go, oh, now I know why I do it. You know, like
you have race 3 at Cadwell and go, now I know exactly why I do this, because I can.
And it's funny, like with the age thing, I get away with it a little bit because I haven't been in the paddock that long, or as long as my age.
See, I think that's another side to it, because you didn't join BSB at 19 or 20.
Exactly. I've not been in this paddock for as long as... There's people a lot younger that have been in the paddock...
Longer.
A lot longer.
Yeah. In the
or not a lot longer, but longer.
No, but yeah.
So I kind of get away with it a little bit because I'm still not fresh-faced, but, you know, like I'm not like, oh my God, is he still going round?
Yeah.
Sort of thing. And then also there's been a little bit of a switch, I think, with the age. I remember when not long since I came into it, I think Glenn Richards had won the British Supersport. Shaky had won BSB. Biaggi had won World Superbike. All 40, pushing 40, whatever it is.
2012, 2013?
Be about that time, yeah. 2012, maybe. And literally, I can't remember who it was about, but the headline in MCN or whatever it was like, should they retire? And I'm like, what a horrible headline. They are clearly the best. They've just won. And
it was top of your game. What are you going to do?
Yeah, and it was backed up by the fact that 2 others had won their respective championships. So I found that very odd, even though at that time I was a lot younger.
Yeah, but wholly irrelevant.
But I thought, oh, that's very ageist. There's no need to say that. You should take the best ones.
It doesn't matter how old you are. If you're good enough, you're good enough.
Exactly. And there's no better proof than by winning championships. So
that's exactly it.
So yeah, but I think it's gone away from that a little bit. That has gone away a little bit.
Yeah.
We do have, in the British Superbike Championship at the minute, we do have riders that have been in it quite a long time. Myself, Leon, Josh, Hickey, you know, you go on a little bit with those sort of things. So, and there is argument, okay, let the others come through and blah, blah, blah. But then you also get into the scenario of if you get the people on the keyboards that say, give it to a young up and coming, blah, blah, blah. And I can't disagree with the sentiment and the romantic idea of it, but put your own money in then. You run them, right? You bring them through.
If you get past round 3.
Yeah. You see them cartwheel the thing because that's what they have. And that's not to say that they will. That's just because they're learning and you have to learn.
That's not how you find the edge.
Exactly.
You have to find the limit somewhere.
And then what you've also got is if you bring that person through, and this is the sad thing that happens to teams that bring younger riders through, is once they've brought them to a point, they then get scouted by another team and then they go, thanks for that, I'm off. So yeah, I do find it a bit funny when I see those sort of comments saying, oh, just put such a body on it. I'm like, you guys have, not that you've got no idea, I don't want to sound condescending, but I just mean there's people in this paddock that put a lot of money and a lot of effort and they need results and they've got sponsors that need results and blah, blah, blah. It's not just as simple as saying, put a kid on it, because it doesn't quite work like that.
Experience is everything in this paddock, because those bikes, those super bikes, are incredibly difficult to ride. And it takes 3 seasons. For me, I believe it takes 3 seasons to be a rounded superbike, to be able to race it, to lap and to pass. All the things you need to do in 3 times a weekend. Then you are a superbike racer. But for those 3 seasons, that's really hard to keep that momentum going, unless you're Max and you've got the support of a team and a sponsor, in the same way that Kyle had with Hawk and then moving to OMG. But there's a reason why you have longevity in the championship. Leon, Josh, Pete to a point. I know he's running his own team.
Yeah.
But there's a reason why Jason, before he went to Worlds, to World Endurance, you are usually higher on the shopping list than a guy in his 1st or 2nd year. because the experience, you're not going to lob it at the fence. You can develop it. You know how the championship works. You know how the bikes work. So there's a lot to be said for the experience that you have.
Yeah, and totally. I mean,
so age doesn't matter for me.
I could pick 8 riders now from the lower classes, not lower, but from the other classes.
Support classes, yeah.
From the support classes that yes, you give them 2, 3, 4 years, absolutely they will be at the front of the championship. But you've got to find a team willing to do that, because it's a hard process.
It is. It's an expensive and long process.
And you're not also guaranteed that they might get broken on the way. I don't mean like physically, but I mean like mentally broken, or it's not a given. There's some super talented riders in the support classes, but that transition is not easy.
But what you have, it's not only the bike, it's the sponsors, it's the commitments, it's the media, it's the BSB media, the commitments that you have to do. All of a sudden, you've got to present yourself in front of a camera with the thrill of the race that BSB put together so well. There's all sorts of media commitments and things that you have to do.
Well, the trouble is, the older I get, the more of a grumpy old man I am. So I'm getting shorter and shorter with my answers. So I don't even get asked for all that now. Mate, it's all right.
I mean, congratulations, you've done super well tonight. I'm going to tell you, it's nearly we've done it.
Oh my God.
Exactly. That's my,
I didn't even realise what time it was.
Shit, no, we've done an hour pretty much. So it's
sorry.
really
sorry, guys.
As if. Right, let's get through the Patreon questions. And there's 2 questions to finish off.
Okay.
Rosalind Fisher. Christian's a fantastic rider, not scared to put moves on anyone. What does he think about having a younger teammate in Max who clearly looks up to him? Does he try to guide him or just let him do his own thing? And Max was very, very polite about you. He was superb.
I think he was. No,
I wasn't expecting anything else.
No, like we just touched on, but yeah, I do. I'm not one that'll withhold too much. I don't want him beating me, obviously.
Of course not.
But I do know that at the point that he gets really good, I'll probably be gone. So I'm not too stressed about it. So I don't mind helping.
He's the future. You're the now.
Yeah, it's fine.
So thank you, Rosalind. Mick Strickland. Was great to see the 21 fighting at the sharp end at Thruxton. Good luck for the rest of the season and hope to see more podiums. What advice would you give to a 16-year-old Christian who was starting out racing today?
Probably not me at 16, because me at 16 was doing exactly the advice that I think I would give. But that's just to enjoy it. As things got more serious, I got too serious, I think. And I lost a lot of enjoyment. I had a lot of years where I had almost no enjoyment. In fact, the opposite, probably just like chore, difficult. And it's so easy to get caught up in the competition of it, in the stress of it, that you forget to realise just how flipping cool it is, the scenario that you're in. My mum's pretty good. She's always been one where I do get down. Everyone does get upset at things, results are not as you want or whatever. And then she's like, look what you're getting to do. You know, look at all the fans on the side. They're not there for me, but they at least clap me when I go past. But you know what I mean? Like, you're in the arena, you're doing it, you know, like, so yeah, sometimes you just almost have to take stock and like do the old helicopter thing, go above the situation, be like, right.
It is still a privilege to do what you do.
It's a privilege. It is a privilege.
The same way it's a privilege for me to sit here with you. It's a privilege to be up on stage in the fan zone.
So the advice to me at 16, I was doing it at 16.
Yeah.
Literally, I was just enjoying it. I was so great. I didn't really understand what was going on, that it was just ride the bike, ride it as fast as I can. You know, it is what it is. And then, yeah, it's the advice I would give to me at probably 25, 26, where I started to get a little bit too, maybe even more actually, probably in my, just touching my 30s, I was like, it got, the more regimented I got and stuff, I just got a bit too down a rabbit hole of being like, oh, I've got to do this and I've got to do that. And
you can't help who you are. That's the character and that's it. And then as you get older and things change and Nick comes along and Toby comes along and then things change and outlooks change.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like talking about that, like my son probably changed my outlook, because in a good way, because you suddenly have this other little human that looks at you and he doesn't care that I finished 4th again or 15th. He doesn't care. And actually, in the grand scheme of things, you go, yes, it matters. Of course, it matters in the job and the blah, blah, blah. But in the grand scheme of things, you're like, okay, it was just a bad day or it was just something and we'll just try and regroup and go on to the next one. So he's been really good in that respect.
The catalyst for change. What would you say to young riders wanting to make the move from, say, club racing to become a professional rider in the BSB paddock?
I mean, it's tough. It's hard to become a professional because we don't have in this country a really good structure for coming up through the ranks. I honestly don't know what advice to give in that respect because it's just super hard. I would say go as big as you can as soon as you can, because you can burn a lot of money spending years trying to go through the ranks, and actually even if you won some of the support classes, it doesn't really get you anywhere. It doesn't guarantee you anything. It doesn't guarantee you. I would just go as big and as hard as you can for a short period of time, and then if it works out, it works out.
Hope something sticks.
Yeah, and if it doesn't, then it is what it is, rather than just being on this like treadmill of being like, oh, if I just do another year in the lower support class, hoping that someone's going to pick you up. It doesn't happen. I'm really sorry to say. It doesn't happen.
I agree. It's a difficult, it is one of the hardest professions, without a doubt. I know it's a great thing, but the actual underbelly of it, all the training, the 1-year contracts, the stress of finding a ride for the following season, there's a lot to it. It's
funny because it's not even a 1-year contract, because after 6 months you're already thinking, am I going to get a contract for next year? Like, so yes, I know you've got the rest of the 6 months, but actually the stress comes already 6 months before that expires, shall we say? So it's like, oh man.
And then the whispers start around Cadwell time, and then all of a sudden,
June, you're like, oh my God, I only signed it like, it feels like last week.
We spent half of that time just training, waiting for the season.
My God.
Thank you for those, mate. Craig Lowe, do you still feel a bit Cressy this season?
Yeah, that was obviously the soundbite from...
it was, wasn't it?
Soundbite.
It was a good one, that.
No, I feel pretty good, to be fair.
But you were quite low at that point.
I was. Yeah, you caught me on a bad time then, that interview. But no, like, I've had a good couple of seasons, to be fair. Even last year on the Motor Rapido bike, year 2 was so much better. Yeah. We had a really difficult end to the year. I got results slightly tailed off, and I don't think I'll ever understand why, because I can't fathom out why they tailed off, because we'd had such a strong start to the year, literally boxed off 7 or 8 podiums in the first 4 or 5 rounds, whatever it was, 2nd or 3rd in the championship at one point, and then it just went, I don't know. I just don't know what happened. And then I got injured at the end. But apart from that, 2024 was a strong year. And then this year's been strong. So, yeah, I feel good.
You can still do it.
Well, that's why I'm here. Otherwise, genuinely.
No, there's no point, is there? You wouldn't put yourself through what you do from the training point of view and
well, it sounds
everything.
Like I don't need to. And I'm not in a position in my career that I need to keep running this sort of repeat thing. I'm only doing it because I came into this championship with a goal to be British champion. I am not here to take a seat that can be filled by someone who has aspirations and whatever in the future. I am here because I do believe it.
And but that's all the fire you need, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's simple as that.
As soon as that goes, I'll be gone. Don't you worry.
Well, not just yet. We enjoy having you around. To back up that question, actually, to back up that part, what does Christian feel his future path is in motorcycle racing? Team boss, world endurance, test rider?
A test rider would be quite cool. World endurance would be very cool. That's definitely something I've looked into. I nearly signed up a few years back, but at the time I didn't feel ready to give up on my single rider aspirations.
Yeah.
Because it's a very different mindset. It's really odd to be in a sport where you are all down for you. And then I did some world endurance stuff, and I found it really hard to like almost want my teammates to do well, because I was watching the timesheets and you want them to do well to get yourselves up the grid or whatever it is. And at the same time I didn't, because I wanted to make sure I was better than them. So I was conflicted when I did that.
You want to be the one that pulls the team forward.
Exactly. So then I was like, okay, I'm not ready for this yet, because I can't I can't be happy for them yet. I'm not ready for it. Even though they're riding the bike that even though they're gonna help win prize money.
I want to win.
I don't want them to do it that fast, like. So I was conflicted. So that's how I know I wasn't quite ready for it. But yeah, world endurance. I think I would be involved in a small way, potentially helping a team, but I wouldn't want a big role. I genuinely wouldn't. I think it's hard. It's team boss, no. Team, just no.
Seen too much of it.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Craig. Simon Breeze, why does Christian run the 21 And what did he do for motivation and fitness during the recent long off season?
21's just because my dad ran it. He told me why he ran it, and I think it was just because he thought it looked cool or something like that. So it's just not really an answer, but my dad ran it. I don't ever struggle for motivation with training, to be fair. I train hard and I do not struggle with motivation, and I know we touched on it, but the minute that goes, then that'll be very easy. I'll just give it. I'll be an absolute massive. I'll be so fat because I like eating. So as soon as I stop training, like that is it. I'm done for. Yeah, maybe not, I'll go full
Austin Powers.
I'll go full Buchan. I'll go full Danny Buchan.
No, there's a man mountain. Jesus, he's enjoying his retirement, isn't he? That boy.
You said it.
He's enjoying himself. That's the only way I can put it.
I think we've all rinsed him a bit, and I think he started doing running again now. Because I think
I'm training, mate. I'm training. You're not. You're lifting sausage rolls, mate. And finally, just one question. This is an interesting one. Why do some riders remove a tear off immediately when leaving pit lane?
Don't. I hate it. Don't even. I'm glad someone brought. Oh, yeah, it's my pet hate.
It's unnecessary.
It's littering. We're pretty bad as it is. You know, we burn fuel and tyres and
you burn fossils and everything else. And
we don't need to litter as well. I don't know. I think sometimes in a session, it's usually because like you've not pulled it on the. I always try and take it off in the garage and then put it in the bin. So if you've done like 10 minutes or whatever, come in, your visor's a little bit dirty. I don't see any excuse for riding down pit lane and then taking it off. It is genuinely one of my pet hates. At the start of the session, that's even worse, because if that's what they mean, I have got no idea. I actually once did I tried to get people to do litter picking. So I had tear-offs with a certain tear-off tab on.
Yeah.
And basically I said, you get a prize if you find one of these on the side, and it was to try and encourage people to pick up litter, really. So, you know, because at BSB, a lot of people do track walks in the evening and stuff. So I kind of wanted it.
Very few have, like at MotoGP, Marquez will have a 93 on it.
Yeah.
And Pecco's
so kind of like that.
So you can get,
so
at least you know who's it is.
And I said, if anyone brings any of my tear-offs back. But I think I didn't throw any tear-offs off because I think I did them all in the garage. So no one won a prize or anything.
Well, they went
so I'm sorry. It was one of them, yeah. It was a lottery you were never going to win. But the thought was there.
This all that matters, as long as the thought's there.
It's a good question.
Two more from this. Hi, Christian. You seem to have hit the ground running on the Kawasaki this season, but why is that? Is it the team? Is it the bike? Is it your ability as a rider? Has your ability as a rider has never been in doubt? There's some lovely emails, nice, yeah. Some lovely question. People, you know, they're happy you're on the podcast. So why is it the team, the bike?
No, it is just me.
It is just you. Yeah, it's the Christian Iddon effect.
Fantastic. No, it's just like
should have just left it there.
I know.
That'd have been so funny.
It is just a combination. You're like, the bike is easy to adapt to. We spoke about it. The team is really good atmosphere, and yeah, I found it quite easy to adapt to the bike. So we've got a good combination going on, and as well, me and Max are pushing each other.
Yeah,
we're coming at it from very different angles, very different paths in our
careers. You did say that, and also both your setups are completely different. Yeah, but you're arriving at almost the same lap time.
Yeah. So it is a combination. It can't ever be anything other than that, really, because you have to have all the pieces of the puzzle. Otherwise, it doesn't fit. It's too close. That if one little bit's missing, you know where.
Nothing else works, does it? The final one from the patrons. You've ridden a lot of different machinery for various teams over the years. Which bike, team and ex-teammate would you choose in your dream BSB team? 4.
Ex-teammate, I would have Michael Laverty. He was the best teammate I've ever had. I mould myself a lot of things that the way he was with me. I aspire to be as good as him in a lot of things. He's very technically minded. He was very methodical. He was incredibly fast. He was a good person, good to me as his teammate. Bike, it wouldn't be any good in BSB, but I would go back to my World Supersport MV Augusta. It was the best bike. I loved it. Best bike I ever rode. It was such a shame that I didn't get to. I think my career would have gone on a very different path. I had a contract with the team, but the team lost the contract with MV, so that it didn't happen. But yeah, that was a fantastic little thing. So we wouldn't do very well on it in BSB, but yeah, I'd go for my old MV, and I would have Michael as my stablemate.
Excellent. And Chris Turner from that asked that question. Thank you, Chris. 2 questions finished. I asked Max the same question. Who would be on your Mount Rushmore of motorcycle racing heroes?
What's Mount Rushmore?
The American presidents on the side of a mountain in America.
Oh, whether 4 or 3?
4.
I would have Ricky Johnson. I would have Casey Stoner. I would have Eli Tomac. And me, just so I got myself up there.
You'd be up there with the legends as well, like, for posterity more than anything.
That one on the end with the big nose. That's me.
Don't want to have me, it'd be somewhere to shelter. And the last one, you have the opportunity to put a 3-day music festival together.
Mm-hmm.
Who are your 3 headline acts?
I'm not big into music, but I'd probably go Chasin Status, Queen, and Entrance.
Oh, Set You Free.
Yeah.
Was that not your Super Pole?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Cadwell,
it's our
wasn't
first dance at the wedding as well and everything.
Perfect.
Little raver.
What a way to finish it. Christian, best of luck for the rest of the season. Thanks for your time, mate. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, Christian Iddon.